Welcome back to the OHA and another episode of Pints and Paints. I am your host, OHA Jason. Today's beverage of choice is a Budweiser. King of beers. Pretty low brow today, but it's what was cold in the fridge. Not that given the current temperature here in Canada, anything would be warm. It's pretty bloody cold. We're at the end of a cold streak. You know, we've hit temperatures in the area of minus 25, minus 30 in some places, even down to minus 56 in Temagami, where I have some family living, so it's quite cold. We're in the middle of what they call a polar vortex, and as such, it's been rather chilly. So hopefully you can find yourself sitting in front of a fire with an episode of P&P on, warming yourself up, and enjoying a nice, refreshing beverage. So cheers, happy hobbying. Here's to the beginning of another hobby weekend. Big week in SBG goings on. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going to be going on, and there's some new news out of the OHA. So I wanted to get you guys caught up with the latest and greatest. So I guess we'll touch on a few things first. So the first thing is this Sunday we are headed to the Hooded Goblin in Georgetown. For me, it's about 2.5 hours away. Going to meet up with the boys from London, and we're all carpooling up to the Hooded Goblin. They're hosting, I guess they kind of have like an independent monthly event up there. 600 points, so looking forward to that. This is going to be the first time I've played, oh goodness, in a while, like at an event. I've been doing plenty of playing around here in the Forge, but this is going to be the first event in a while, so I'm flip-flopping on my list on what I want to bring. Most of you'll know I'm an Iron Hills player big time, so I'm toying with that idea as well as tossing in maybe Thorin. Not really sure, 600 points, I'm kind of playing with the list, so got to come up with something, but rest assured it will likely be something of the short variety, just because it suits my play style, which is terrible, and I need high defense. So it's a little more forgiving and plays into my style of play a little better. So interesting point value, 600 points. Most of the armies that I'm used to taking or fielding with the Iron Hells are, between 700 and 800. That 750 mark being sort of the gold standard currently. Which is quite interesting. 600 points, I understand, it's a manageable number for tournaments, but I really think that the game shines at a higher point value, sort of 700 and above, in my opinion. But 600 is fun for an afternoon to head down, especially when you've got considerable drive time to take into account for travel and stuff. You want to get down there, play a few games, and get out. So looking forward to spending some time down there at the Hooded Goblin. We've been there before at the launch. We were out there actually with Dan Edwissel and Sam Jeffrey when they were down back, that would have been August, I think. August, September, somewhere in there. Anyways, it was a release for the new edition of the rules. We were at the Hooded Goblin, played some games. We were there to sort of help out with demos and stuff, but it was a good time. Nice folk down there, nice store, good gaming area. So interested to see it full up. I think Cody Brown is the fellow's name that runs the place, or co-owner or something. Anyways, he's the fellow that's always posting. He's mentioned, I think we're at 11 players currently, so interested to see what the final tally is going to be. I know a large number of them are coming from the London area, so that kind of makes me chuckle. Bit of a hike, but well worth it. These guys have been putting on looks like a pretty stellar event. They've had some pretty awesome prize support from the pictures that were shown, and some pretty good turnouts. So we're happy to go out and support and help, grow the community and the hobby, and sort of expand the exposure of SBG. So really looking forward to that. That being said, our event obviously at Hot Lead is coming up, fast approaching in March. The deadline for registration is February 15th. If you are interested in attending Hot Lead, I highly recommend you get on, grab your ticket, and let us know what army you're going to be playing. Even if you don't submit your list by the 15th, list right now, hopefully you get it in by the 15th. Give us an idea of what we're looking at. I can honestly say right now we could use a little bit of help on the evil side. If anybody's leaning towards evil and need a little push, we could use some evil players, because obviously with the release of the new Gondor supplement, there's a lot of excitement around those legendary legions and such, particularly in on the good side. as much as the evil side, I think, looks fairly balanced. A lot of the talk has been about the good, and that could just be, I'm not sure what, but maybe everybody just likes the good guys better. I'm not sure, but we can use a little help on the evil side. So if you're on the fence and looking for a direction, that's our little hint. We'd really like to strive to keep this good versus evil, and we're going to absolutely do our best to do that. But we could use a few more evil players if you're on the fence. So come on and join us. Hot Lead last weekend of March. It's a two-day event. Starts at 9 o'clock on Friday, so we pushed the first game back as far as we could, just to give people time to get down to Stratford and travel, check into the hotel, that kind of thing, do a little mingling, check out the convention, see what's going on. It's a fantastic event, so much fun. Service right in the venue. You don't have to leave the hall. You can grab yourself a beer, come over, have a pint, throw some dice, walk around, check out the vendors, check out the other games. I mean, that's one thing that sort of goes unspoken on the SPG channel here, just because we specifically talk about SPG, but there's so many other games at Hot Lead, and a lot of inspiration, really. I mean, there's some fantastic tables that really, can help give you ideas. Some of the terrain that these guys crank out is amazing. It really is a place to, grow your hobby spirit, I guess would be the best way to put it. It's definitely one of the finer venues in Canada. So very excited to be back, very excited to be invited back, and to be doing this again. So as I've talked about in the past, we're also doing the demo table. We're really excited about that. Hopefully, round up some new players local to the Stratford, Southwestern Ontario area. And the reason for that is a nice segue into the next thing I want to talk about, which is the OHA League, which is starting up. So currently we run bi-weekly games nights at the Game Chamber. For those of you who don't know, that's a store in London, Ontario. Anybody who's local, come on down, jump on the Facebook page, Ontario Hobbit Adventures, and you're going to find, in the event section, you'll find the bi-weekly games and the dates. The next ones, I believe, are the 7th and the 21st. Those two games nights, we will also be taking recommendations for the forming of our first league. And the reason for that is we had a lot of players approach us in the London area that wanted some more structure to the game nights, as currently it was just sort of show up and bring a 600-point list and throw some dice, which was absolutely great to get people into the game, get some of the newer people learning the rules. Now that people are picking it up and it's becoming a more regular thing, they want a little more structure in the game, so we're going to give them that. We're still toying with a bunch of ideas, and there's some ongoing discussions as far as what that structure is going to look like. But rest assured, with it being the OHA, it's going to be themed, it's going to be fun, and we're really looking forward to this. The fact that we've been able to maintain that kind of player base in the London area, the momentum, the excitement. I was out there at the last one, bunch of great guys, everybody was laughing, having a good time. It was really good energy, so really happy to take it to that next step for these guys. And obviously open it up to anybody else who's willing to come down and pay us a visit. Obviously, with it being a league, we're kind of toying with the idea of adding a couple extra days just so that people can get their games in, so they're not limited. Again, that's all discussions we're going to have at the next two games nights. So looking for input. If you're local and you're watching, come on down and see us at the Game Chamber. Look for either myself, OHA George, Dane, Tyler, Evan, any of the guys, by some miracle, Big Papa T, definitely come down and have a chat and share your input, because we're definitely interested in hearing it and knowing what you, the player, wants out of a league. So that's what's going on in the OHA as far as that goes. Pretty exciting. It definitely opens the doors to some possibilities. We're excited to see locally that really we've taken the game from, with the players' help, of course, we've taken the game from, basically zero to, we're now hosting two events bi-weekly, which is great. The Game Chamber, Tim has been absolutely awesome at supporting that, making product available, ordering things for people. So Tim at the Game Chamber, if you need your plastic fix, go see him. He offers some great membership deals and things that you can sign up for, get some discounts, and get your Middle Earth fix from him. So very, very cool stuff. So we're really excited to see what that leads to, what it turns into. Everything right now with the hobby is such an ebb and flow. It's really growing to the point where it's definitely not what it was 2 years ago. So it's really exciting to see that the community can support that. And we want to make sure that the players in our area are getting what they need, hobby-wise and competitive-wise. So that was sort of the word that was given, was they wanted a little more competitive play and structure, which, as most of you know from the onset of the OHA, it's been a lot about theme, scenario play, terrain, boards, all that great stuff, which is absolutely fantastic. But when you got a great group of guys like we do that are, saying this is what we want, we're not going to shy away from that. So, we're gonna scratch that itch, make sure that the guys get what they want, but rest assured, we are gonna make sure that it's themed and that it's gonna go off well. So the great thing about it is, I think, especially now with the Gondor at War release and the supplements, the sort of the direction we're seeing, these legendary legions that have cropped up, really make it advantageous to make sure you're bringing a themed list and a themed themed army composition. And just as a point of clarification, Gondor at War will be permitted at Hot Lead for War of the Ring. Absolutely able to bring lists out of those books. There's no problem. It's a GW produced supplement. We 100% support its use. So you can most certainly bring a list out of that book. But it's really interesting to see sort of the transition, and the push towards making this a thematic experience for the players. Even if you do end up playing, blue on blue or whatever. The legendary legions, the perks that you're getting for taking those legions, I mean, it's hard to ignore, really, when you look at it. When you talk about, just as an example, Aragorn and the Army of the Dead, the benefit you get there. When you do the math on the points, and I'm not going to discuss points on the channel here, but when you do the math on the points on what you're getting for free, just simply by taking that army composition, it certainly makes up for it. And it certainly makes sense. So really excited to see down the road, what it's going to do to the meta, what it's going to do to just for composition in general, and how rare you're going to see now the sort of the pick and play stuff that you used to see. And I know that there's some people that are going to argue that limits the creativity, and frankly, I don't see that argument. You get a bonus for being thematic, which I think is awesome, but there's not a penalty other than you lose your army bonuses for taking whatever you want. So you can still do it. There's nothing stopping you from doing it. Just now there's a benefit to not doing that, which I think is something the game needed, because some of the stuff, some of the combinations and things that you were seeing, it was stale. It was getting old. And a lot of people may miss those days and may want to be able to pick and play, and among friendly games maybe you do, or even at your normal tournament events you're still taking whatever you want and just sacrificing the army bonus, and that's absolutely fine. But the argument can be made that there's absolutely concrete evidence that this will now flip it on its head, and you're going to see a lot of people leaning towards those legendary legions, which for me personally, as a player who's looking for a thematic experience, I'm pleased about that. Very, very pleased. So, obviously at every event, you're never going to be able to have pure theme, pure, good versus evil. You're going to have some blue on blue, but, for the most part, it's just nice to see people taking a force from the book or the movie, something that makes sense, and fits the timeline, fits the story. So I'm excited about it. Really looking forward to seeing what it does to the game. What else do I want to talk about? I think that's just about it for the OHA for this week. Not a whole lot on the hobby table. I did do a little bit of work on the board. I don't know if, let's see if you can see this. There's some stuff there that we were toying with, and pretty excited at how it plays. Had to do a couple changes just as far as layout goes for playability for the newer players, but really excited to get some new people into the game, playing on that board, throwing some dice. We have changed our direction on that. Pardon me. Originally, it was going to be sort of a Rangers force versus Angmar, we've now decided, in support of the new release for the Gondor at War, we want to kind of tie into that, so we're going to be doing Minas Tirith versus Mordor on that table. We really want to complement what the current releases are from GW, something that, if you get a new player in and they're excited and they like what they've played, they can go out right away, grab it, take it home, and throw it together. So with the new supplement, obviously, and then the box sets, I think we're pretty safe in saying they should be able to find some Minas Tirith models kicking around. So excited for that. But other than that, that's it. Let's get on with the hobby weekend. I'll do a recap, maybe even a travel vlog with OHA Dane. I'm going to be heading down with him on Sunday to the Hooded Goblin, see if we can do a little bit of coverage maybe from the event. Whether it's a video too or some pictures. If you want to check out more, take a look at our Instagram and Facebook. And as always, happy hobbying. Cheers. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of PMP.